This is Suchitra Vijayan, and you're joining us for the Polis Project's weekly segment From the Ground Up, where we center the voices of activists, writers, journalists, and other working on some of the most important issues affecting India and the larger South Asia with a focus on documenting state violence, human rights violations, and local resistance movements. We start the segment with our weekly update on patterns of state violence in India. On the 22nd of June, 2021, the 22nd of June 2021 marked 4 years since Junaid, a Muslim boy, was murdered on the train. Six men accused of killing the 15-year-old boy are out on jail. The case was listed 44 times, most hearings adjourned after stays from High Court, Supreme Court, and the pandemic. There has been no hearing for 3.5 years. A fact finding team from the Jharkhand Janadikar Mahasabha, comprising of representatives of various organizations, journalists, lawyers, activists, inquired into the firing on Adivasis by security forces and death of Brahmadev Singh. On June 12, 2021, many online news portals reported an exchange of fire that took place between security forces and Maoists in Kukupiri forest in Jharkhand. According to reports, one Naxalite was killed and guns were found. Next day, many local newspapers highlighted that 24-year-old Brahmadev Singh from Piri village had died in a counter firing by the security forces. The Jharkhand Janadikar Mahasabha investigated the matter by conducting a fact finding that included representatives of various organizations, journalists, lawyers, and social workers. The team found the incident of 12 June was not an exchange of fire. Innocent villagers were fired upon by security forces, and six Adivasis associated with the incident, including Brahmadev, were out on a traditional hunting ritual every year. On 21st of June 2021, journalists and transparency activist Saurav Das's investigation revealed that the death count in 24 Uttar Pradesh districts were 43 times more than the official COVID-19 death toll. The 24 districts out of the 75 in Uttar Pradesh reported the highest number of COVID cases over the months of June, July, August, and October 2020, when the first wave struck. As per various media reports and government data tracked by COVID19India.org, the excess deaths in these districts were between 10 to 335 times higher than the reported COVID 19 death toll between the 1st of July 2020 and the 31st of March 2021. An investigative piece by The Wire by journalist Kunal Prohit revealed that Max Corporate Services, a company accused of conducting nearly 1 lakh COVID tests during the recent Kumbh Mela in Haridwar, has links to the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party that might have played a role in selection of the Uttarakhand authorities despite failing to make the grade earlier. Evidence with The Wire reveals how the founder partner of the company, Sharad Pant, hobnobbed with BJP leaders, ministers in the Modi government, including the party chief JP Nara, in the run-up to being awarded the contract. Now that we've done with the news roundup, I would like to quickly jump into our conversation series. Today, our conversation is going to be focused on Lakshadweep. The Indian archipelago of Lakshadweep has seen unprecedented protests and growing resistance to a series of new laws and protests. At the center of the row is the region's newly appointed government administrator, Praful Patel, and his various controversial proposals, the law he plans to implement, and a surge in COVID-19 cases. Since he took charge, Patel has issued a series of extraordinary orders. People with more than two children are now ineligible for the panchayat positions. Items like eggs have been struck off the school menus, and hundreds of casual workers have been laid off. Some of the protesters against the CAA NRC laws have also been arrested. Fishermen's sheds have been demolished, and mandatory quarantine, which kept the Union Territory safe from COVID-19 till January, has been done away with. Under Patel, Lakshadweep's administration has announced a slew of new bills that have local community panicking about the future. The draft Lakshadweep Animal Preservation Regulations of 2021 bans beef. Similarly, the draft Prevention of Antisocial Activities Regulation of 2021 allows the administrators to unilaterally detain people for up to a year. Joining us today to understand what's going on the ground, especially about the mobilization, the resistance to these laws that have seen series of arrests and a sedition charge being filed against filmmaker Aisha Sultana for making public comments, are Dr. Ayshabi, born and brought up in Kalpani, Lakshadweep. Now she runs a own hospital in Malapuram, Kerala, and has been organizing for the cause of ecological justice in Lakshadweep. We also have Kanchi Kohli, who's a scholar working on environment, forest, and biodiversity in India. She regularly teaches at universities and law schools on the subject related to biodiversity, environment, and community development. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to quickly jump into the conversation by placing the existing issues within the background. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about the events that led to what is happening today? The protests have been called unprecedented, but can you give us a background and what led to the protests? And also place this within the context of existing role that India plays in relationship to Lakshadweep's administration. Dr. Ayshabi, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Uh, my islands, Lakshadweep, they are in news. Few people studying medicine in Delhi, people me whether Lakshadweep was in. So we were in news, till 2020 December as administrator. Till then, we had only
Dr. Ayshabi, we cannot hear you. You're breaking up.
forms, and that I the campaign propped up. First of all, and you're right, actually, we found it zone free of cost 1 year. Relaxed our SOP, saying that no need, and
I think we've lost Dr. Kanchi, would you like to step in?
Sure. I mean, I honestly, I think Dr. Ayshabi would be much better positioned, and somebody from Lakshadweep would be much better positioned to actually give the background of about the islands and what has led to these unprecedented protests and the reactions that are coming from the islands. And I mean, I think I heard her a little bit when she was saying that somebody actually even asked her whether Lakshadweep is in India. And I think that is an important point that she was making, because in most mainland India.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think, Doctor, you're back. Sorry, the line was really bad. Can you hear us?
hello. Can
Hello,
I?
Doctor. We can hear you, but the
start?
line is really bad. Do you want to perhaps turn off the
Really?
camera and just speak?
Maybe you could put off the video, and maybe the voice will be better. Yeah, that might be stable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doctor,
I'll
would you
start
mind
now.
starting again from the beginning? We're really sorry. The line was really bad. We couldn't hear you properly.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm just going to repeat the question
Yeah, like
for our audience.
islands.
Doctor, please go ahead.
Okay. I'm talking about the background actually and the protests. The background was like till 2020 December 5. Can you hear? Am I audible now? Better? Hello?
Yes.
Am I better now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Till 2020 December 5, we were not even in news anywhere, Once Praful Godabai Patel, who is a BJP politician, joined and he relaxed our SOP rules. We were having a green zone for 1 whole year. And after relaxing the SOP, there was a surge of cases and many deaths happened actually in second wave. And Lakshadweep is a place where we have regulation. In that case, like what was happening in Lakshadweep was not his concern. They were both thinking of developments, developments, how developments are happening there. They have banned beef from our meals. They have demolished the fishermen sheds in one night's time when fishermen were sleeping, when whole island was sleeping. And they have taken over powers from Panchayat. They have taken over most important sections like agriculture, education, health, animal husbandry, and fishing. These sort of 5 sections they have already taken from the from the Panchayat. This is how they were trying to develop our islands, you see. So this is the that is why. And another this thing is Lakshadweep Development Regulation, Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulation Act, LDAR, and that was also very controversial. And it gives immense power to the administrator to take away any land for the purpose of development. See, so this is how we are protesting. And same time, our islands, which are is facing a lot of risk from this administration, this present administration. That's why we are and protested, still going on. Our protest last time when Praful Godabai Patel black mask, black flags, black dresses, from top to bottom black, and then that is the time he came and he stayed for 1 week, but he curtailed his visit and went off. The day he was leaving, we were banging utensils and saying, "Go Patel, go, go Patel, go." So this is how we are protesting. And also Kerala people very overwhelmingly have taken over our protest, and they are also joined. Even their MPs have written to President of India about a condition of Lakshadweep, that it's very necessary to revoke all these anti-human bills and regulations. So islanders are in fear. They are in fear. Even their existence is at risk. We don't know whether like our islands will survive after 2035. That's how the studies have shown.
I now want to quickly go. Sorry, Doctor, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Things after 2035. So again, hello.
Hello. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you took a pause. No, please finish, and I'll go to the next one.
Okay, the other person can continue. I think my network is little slow.
I want to now quickly go and discuss Praful Patel and his proposals. You laid out some of this, but why are the reforms proposed by the new administration so unprecedented for the local population? Um, Doctor, can you hear me? Um, Kanchi, would you like to step in and talk more about the regulations, especially in relationship to the environment, and then we can pick up from with Dr. Ayshabi.
Sure. I mean, I think this context that she laid out was extremely crucial. I think, and it's also crucial not just because I think one of the main things is that the Lakshadweep Islands, and I'll emphasize that because this is a point that she made when she first spoke. In the vision of mainland India, Lakshadweep doesn't exist, and Delhi is really far away from where Lakshadweep is. So, really understanding, the question as she was talking about, people asked whether is Lakshadweep actually in India, and is it the same pin code? What's the pin code? These are the kinds of questions people. So, it's not in the imagination. Now, if you keep that in mind and then contextualize the kind of interventions that are now being sought in the islands, I think it works both ways. I mean, for the islanders also, Delhi is really far away. It's a different world. I think so that relationship, if anything that needs to be done in the islands, it has to build. It needs to be building on the understanding that there is a distance already. Now, in that context, if we go in with a proposal that is even more centralized than how Lakshadweep is actually administered right now. It is actually bringing in eminent domain powers of the government in such a big way. Eminent domain powers, basically, in the power to acquire and plan and do anything on behalf of people, assuming that the central government, has an understanding of what is good for the islands, so that you can actually exercise that. The proposals that have come in are highly extractive in nature. They're based on the idea of speculation around land and land use change. And I think there's very little. It contains it really shrinks and contains the space to participate in the development of the islands. And the LDAR law, the draft LDAR law, why it's being opposed also is that one should look at the definition of development there. It is all about building over. It's constructions, buildings, all of that. So I think that's the nature, one, in the manner in which it has entered the islands, and it has absolutely no historical context, or rather it has such an historical context that it is got in for a certain purpose. It has entered the islands. The proposals have entered the island, whether it's the Gunda Act or the LDAR or other kinds of proposals. From what I understand, in my limited understanding, what I understand, it has entered the islands more to disrupt than to engage with the islanders.
So Doctor hasn't come back yet, so I'm going to try and see if we can discuss very quickly about the environment till she logs back in. One of the questions I have for you is that the laws and reforms slated to be introduced threaten the delicate ecology of the region. Can you walk us through some of these laws and their implications for Lakshadweep?
So I think we need to start with what is being proposed for the Lakshadweep. So it is being envisioned as the new Maldives. It is being built. You're talking about we're talking about using it as a shipping area. You're talking about building tourism, all of those things. So it's completely changing the ethos of the place from what it is. Now, in the context of that, the moment that vision is, do you want to go to her first? I can come back. Okay, so basically, in this context, unfortunately, what has happened is that this predetermined vision of what should be good for the islands, which is a very mainland centralized sort of vision that we're talking about, what is actually doesn't seem to have any history of localized discussions, etc. What it's trying to do is actually, and I mean, I think researchers, ecologists, and just today there was a news report and letters have gone to the government on it, that the ecological vulnerability, the livelihood vulnerability, the climate vulnerability of the islands finds absolutely no place in these proposals. And it almost seems like all environmental regulations and environmental precautions can kick in after the proposal is moving in, and almost all of it can be fixed, which is actually an irony, because there is so much research, including Government of India research, to say that Lakshadweep Islands are extremely, and as Ayshabi doctor was also talking about, the future of the islands is actually under a huge question. Sea erosion is taking place, coral bleaching is taking place. So much is research is out there, and we know very little about the islands to be able to just sweep in and make these changes. And I think these precautions have been highlighted by many researchers who've worked extensively in the islands.
Dr. Ayshabi, welcome back. I want to, if you're
Yeah,
ready,
thank you.
can I put a question to you?
Yes,
Welcome back.
yes. I hope so. Please.
Um,
Now I moved my move to a different place. Let's see.
let's see, fingers crossed. I do want to now, I want to discuss, I want to hear from you, Praful Patel and his proposal. You've already talked about it a little bit. Why are the
Yeah,
reforms that proposed to, so unprecedented to the local population? Can you walk us through these reforms and what it means for those in Lakshadweep?
Can you repeat the question, please? Can you
Sure.
repeat the question? Yeah.
Yes. I want to quickly discuss the proposals that Praful Patel has laid out for Lakshadweep. Why are these laws and reforms, or reforms as he calls them, so unprecedented, and what are the effects of these proposals on the local population?
Okay. I think I spoke to you about the SOP reforms, right? I hope you could hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is the Punjab Regulation Act. In that, he says that those who have more than 2 children should not contest elections, Punjab elections. Like while media person encountered, confronted him about this, he says, "Why you people are talking about, when I am saying 2 people you are criticizing? Why you are not criticizing people with 25 children?" Understand? And I hope you understand what is meant by 25 children,
Mm-hmm.
like a Muslim
The
man,
communalization, yeah, the communalization.
yeah, a Muslim man marries four wives, and the man and 4 wives are 5, and every wife gets 5 children. So 20 plus 5 is 25. That's what he meant. So in that way, he was trying to target Muslims also. He criticized Muslims in that interview. In that way, he says that animals alcohol in our culture. We actually, people of Lakshadweep, we don't want alcohol, and even like Gujarat is a dry land for his own place, but here in Lakshadweep, when long decades, we don't want, we are not in need of alcohol, and he has brought in that thinking, like saying that it's for development and it's to boost the tourism. Okay. The another most controversial thing is LDAR, that gives immense power to administrator to remove, relocate islanders from their place, from their properties, in the name of development. So all these things. Another thing, the very latest thing is that very serious patients in Lakshadweep, they have nothing, like they have no way except to transfer them to Cochin for immediate treatment. For that also, for airlifting serious patients, he has brought in restrictions, saying that a 4-member team should decide whether to shift the patient or whether patient should be kept in islands itself. So this way crucial time is lost, and maybe we lose our patients. This is how it is. He is relaxing SOP, and he is not bothered about the infrastructure of medical facilities in the islands. Disregarding that, he has brought in so many regulations, and that he says it's for development and for tourism, and he's not bothered about the administration, is not bothered about the how fragile our islands are, how sensitive they are, and he is not bothered. And again they are trying to cut the bonds between Kerala and Lakshadweep. Kerala and Lakshadweep, we depend for each and everything, even for salt. We cannot produce even salt in our place. For everything, we depend Kerala land, and that's only 400 kilometers from Lakshadweep. And now they are trying to connect us with Karnataka, which is more than 1,000 kilometers. So, why is this all for the welfare of the people or for something else? That's what people are asking.
It's also quite interesting that journalist Rajshekhar recently reported that he's, for someone who's been imposing austerity on all of the places that he rules, he actually, because of the protests in Kerala, he's now been taking the Coast Guard flights, which has cost the government of India, I think, over 35 lakhs in the last 2 months. Um, I quickly want to also go, Kanchi, I want to focus, since your work focuses on law and environmental justice, is Lakshadweep being treated as ground zero of a new type of neoliberal development? Or do you see this as a logical consequences of years of implementing these policies and practices? Or is the BJP's ideology and practice to ecology and environment just something fundamentally different? So one, if you can just talk about because we don't want to say that it's only this particular government. There's been a long history of environment being completely disregarded. So if you could also place that within the context, but also tell us if you view this as something as a continuation or something has fundamentally shifted and changed since this government has come.
Yeah, I mean, environmental laws and policies and regulations in India for the longest. I mean, I would say ever since in the early 1990s, even when they were brought in to try and do some sort of balancing, I think they've been always amenable to political decisions and economic considerations. So I think that so in many ways, what we will see, going ahead, and there are already changes coming out, amendments in the, say, coastal regulation zone notification, environment impact assessment notifications. These are the ones which regulate, help in environment regulation, do impact assessments, and all those kinds of things. Are supposed to be doing prior studies, etc. But the general tendency is that all these regulations that I was talking about earlier would fall in line. It's almost like a fait accompli outcome of these regulations, because the policies and the interventions are always predetermined. So this is what we have already envisioned. All the laws are not supposed to look at, so there is no environmental audit of these policies, whether it is coal mining in central India, whether it's all the port projects that are coming up across the coast, what is happening in, say, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep now, or the hydropower projects in the northeast. I think there is no environmental audit or a social justice audit or the social legitimacy audit of any of these. It's like, so what you basically see is environment regulations either in their enforcement or in their amendments, actually falling in line and enabling, accommodating these proposals. Very few times you will have any of those changes. So I think that's exactly what is happening in the Lakshadweep Islands as well. I mean, right now, or what is being planned, because what precedes is a vision document. What precedes is a larger economic proposal, and environment, livelihoods are a collateral. They can be dispensed or they can be compensated for, and that's been the general tendency for most governments. Just that I think in the last few years, you see a much more intense version of it emerging.
Dr. Ayshabi, I kind of want to come back to how the local population has been responding to a lot of these laws. A lot of the local protests for the new administration, Praful Patel's new administration, seems to come from fisher folk and dairy workers. What are some of the challenges that they are set to confront with the coming legislations, especially as the power to make decisions on education, health, agriculture, and fisheries have been arbitrarily taken away from the local panchayats? Because you've spoken about this. So they've taken the power away from the people. So what do you see happening, especially to the fisher folk and the dairy farm workers?
Yeah. Actually, their dairy farm were completely shut, and the High Court has stayed that order. Says that well, recently, just 2 days ago, High Court has stayed it and said that the farm should not be shut. So hopefully that will go on. And like he was trying to impose Amul products to the islanders. In fact, we boycotted Amul, and we also told the people of Kerala to try maximum not to buy Amul products. To think of it, Kerala, there are so many good brands, milk and milk products, but he did not buy from Kerala. They chose Gujarat. They chose to bring Amul from Gujarat. So that we know that it's for corporate purpose. And fishing sheds are demolished right now. They have boats and other things, whatever necessary things for their fishing purpose. They are not able to keep anything anywhere. They are just left in open. And of course, fishermen will find it difficult to pursue with their fishing and their trade. And also, the people who have been disengaged at large, so many people, like near about 5,000 people are disengaged from their daily wage or contract work. And also, you must have come to know that those people, those indigenous islanders who were in higher posts, of like director and all, those people were depromoted. And Danics from North India are now occupying those chairs. So this is how he is trying to develop Lakshadweep by degrading their own people, by taking away our income, by suppressing our lifestyle, even shutting schools, shutting Anganwadis, and trying to stop protein food for children. So all these are going to have an impact. Another thing is that we had a storm recently. We had a storm, and for that also they have not provided anything, like no compensation or no relief were distributed until now. So in all these ways, Lakshadweep is sinking economically, socially, and traditionally, and ecologically. In all ways, Lakshadweep right now is sinking. Though authorities say that they are going to make Lakshadweep islands as Maldives or in even mini Singapore.
I want to quickly go to what's happening to the communities that are protesting. You have a series of sedition charges that have been put in place. Talk to us about how the
Yeah.
Praful Patel has also dealt with protests on the ground, and how, as a community that's been organizing, you're planning on figuring out ways to protest, but also in a way to secure the community as you protest.
Yeah. Our protest is totally democratic. We don't go out of our houses because we are having lockdown. And we just sit inside our homes and display placards or wear black dresses and black flags, or like this is how, and take pictures and display in social media. This is what we are doing, nothing else, because we cannot protest in the open. So, Lakshadweep is highly law abiding people. We don't have any law and order issues there. That is the place where they brought Gunda Act. Imagine, for 1 year people were very peacefully obeying the orders of government, and the area was without COVID. That means that how much law abiding people we have in Lakshadweep. We can imagine that not even a single case was reported. So the same way we were protesting inside our homes and displaying some placards. And the other day, I told you that we were banging and banging utensils and asking, "Go Patel, go." But the thing is that the very interesting thing is that Praful Godabai Patel never interacts with people. He doesn't know the mood of people. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to meet people or people representatives. He doesn't want to discuss anything with people. For him, people don't exist there. For him, a land exists there, and he wants to do magic in that land. He wants to make Maldives and Singapore in that land. That is how it is. The poor people are existing there. They are locked up inside their homes. They don't have water. They don't have food. They have no jobs. They have the cyclone came in between, destroyed many boats, livelihood. They are in utter miserably. They are sitting inside their homes and show, like, what can they do? Even like Kerala, people cannot send them food. For that, our collector has said that Lakshadweep people have enough food grains in their land. There is no need to carry food grains from Kerala. No need of donation from Kerala. That is what our collector has said. Even our collector came to Kerala and gave a press conference saying that there are the drug marketing and like AK-47 were found in a ship. It's not related to Lakshadweep at all. It was found some in the international sea route in some Sri Lankan ship. But he was trying to put the blame on Lakshadweep people. Imagine that. There are 3 oxygen plants in Lakshadweep. That's how they are found aware. There is no oxygen plant. So he, being an IAS officer, in-service officer, he was lying. He was lying to the people about Lakshadweep and its condition. So our administration, they don't bother about the people. The people are in misery. They don't want to know anything about the people. They don't want to discuss anything about the people. They have centralized all the powers, and even our panchayat, people have no powers to do anything. Totally undemocratic, totally unconstitutional, totally unhuman activities are going there under this administration.
Kanchi, I want to address two questions to you, both relating to the environment. Um, the tourism development is a logic that's been used, and the Lakshadweep Development Authority, the new legislation also has quarrying as a part of the Developmental Act, as a part of that. So it's quite curious to see how quarrying and mining have been included as a part of the development and tourism package. Similarly, the IIT Kharagpur report also talks about the coastal erosion. Dr. Ayshabi also spoke about this. So, talk to us about the impending coastal erosion, part of the larger global climate change that's already poses a large threat to the island, but also laws that are now being put in place that again target the very delicate ecology of the island.
There's a detailed letter that the Lakshadweep Research Group has put together, and they have sent it to both the current administrator of the Lakshadweep and the president. And it has a five-part annexure, five annexures, and in many of those points that have been raised in those annexures, exactly these kind of questions have been asked, and these questions basically, I mean, tourism, one of the questions that the document asks is that, has anybody examined the Maldives model of tourism before actually introducing it in the Lakshadweep Islands? Or for that matter, has anybody, I mean, there's a manner in which ecotourism itself has been defined in the LDAR. So, I mean, there is a certain kind of model that is already being introduced. Quarrying is very much part of. I mean, they want to build. You're actually introducing a lot of concrete in the Lakshadweep Islands. You're going to be building. And there's been a recent amendment to the island protection zone notification in India, which is basically talking about introducing a central agency which can even give permissions for sand mining in fragile, ICRZ B areas. So I think those are the kind of changes that are, as I was saying, environment regulation then falls in line, and tourism. I mean, real estate and mining and quarrying actually go alongside, because you need building material, and you're looking at actually chipping away from the hills to get the stone to actually build that infrastructure. But I think that the point is this model really has it been examined? Obviously not, because one is moving, and otherwise that question wouldn't have arisen. On coastal erosion, I mean, it is when I was reading about it, there have been people who've been talking about this for so long. I mean, internationally, climate change discussions have been talking about islands being the most vulnerable. Sea warming, coral bleaching, coastal erosion. Doctor just spoke about, we don't know whether the islands will exist in the next 10, 20 years. And this envisioning is actually not part of what is being envisaged, and that's why I almost feel like this is a lot of this is also speculative, land speculation that is taking place, because it's also territorializing that is taking place, that here, not just it is not about development of the islands. So I think those are important categories that we need to look at, because the ecological question is actually not important for the government. An ecological question is actually, it's almost felt that can be fixed at some point of time, when actually there's good solid scientific research to say that isn't the case, and there is enough knowledge in India and internationally that can be weighing in to tell you that this is, when you're going to be rolling out this process, that you're going to be hitting roadblocks. Entire projects are going to be swept away into the sea if you don't plan it well. But if that's not the idea. The idea is to, as I said, disrupt.
We are coming to the end of the segment. So, Dr. Ayshabi, I'm going to come to you with two questions. One, there's already been a sedition charge filed. The protests are going on. But also you see that the news of Lakshadweep is also fast disappearing from the mainstream. So in terms of ways for outside communities to support the local community, what are the things that those outside can do? But also, as a community that is still in resistance, what are your asks in terms of what happens next? Because as you see, of course the protests are going on, but also there's this way of cracking down on protests. So if you can talk to us about these two and ways in which others from the outside can be in solidarity with you, please let us know.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, what we are planning is, we know that this protest should not end so soon. It has to go on and on. So we want to lit the light of protest as long as it is necessary. And also we will keep in contact with outsiders, especially Kerala and all the like-minded people, secular, democratic, my beautiful India's people. We'll be always in contact with, as you are now, right now, you both are spending time for the sake of Lakshadweep. We are so grateful to you all. So the same way, we are going to light up the candle of protest as long as possible, as long as one single islander is alive. Till then, we will not stop this protest. That's what we have decided. And also, they are trying to suppress every dissent voice. That's why they have brought in Gunda Act. And even to be honest, just 2 days ago, even I got a call from local police station of Kerala that some people have. There was an inquiry about me whether I am, trying to go anti-national. Just imagine. I am a doctor and I am practicing so seriously, and this is what it is. Just because I raise my voice against this injustice, people are saying, like, people are suspecting that I am going in an anti-national way. So this is how their next plan will be to suppress all the dissent voices, and even more arrests are expected. And what we want is, we want our land back as it is. We don't want any more developments which our islands cannot afford, our land cannot afford. Ecologically, they are fragile, and we love that fragile land, and we want to live there and also die there. We don't want someone to come and someone to come and occupy our land, and we become outsiders or second-hand citizens. We don't want that. We'll not allow them. We will not allow them. As far as we are alive, a single islander is also enough. We'll keep on protesting about that. So our main concern is that our land will not be given for development, that too for corporatism. We will not bend down for corporatism, and we understand fascism, and we will face it in a very wise way. That's what my message is.
Dr. Ayshabi, Kanchi Kohli, thank you so much for making the time. Over the next few months, Police Project will be updating readers and audience about what's happening on the ground. We will try and gather all the materials mentioned by both Dr. Ayshabi and Kanchi Kohli, and will become a part of our thread so that you have more access to these documents. Thank you so much for making the time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you, from whole of Lakshadweep and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.